Carla and Lou here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for sure, and it is Freddy's Nightmares, an episodic recap, episode 17, Love Stinks, directed by John Lafia and written by Jeff Frelich and Michael DeLuca. Familiar names for the show overall, all three. This episode is up there as one of the best.
Yeah.
Both segments.
Yeah.
And that is why, because both segments offer different things in fun, interesting ways. The first one being deeper, but doing a brilliant analogy overall, for love and betrayal and all of that, and obsession and so on. Whereas the second one is just fun as fuck. Yeah. It is as simple as that. Two good segments put together that have a decent enough link. Yeah. It's only a character that links them, but it's decent enough.
But we like that. We like the character.
And that's perfectly fine because I liked both characters. And the other people that join in this. This is simplicity as well. Yeah. That's another thing that this does really well. This overall this episode, both segments are simple, not too complex. So it becomes one of the best episodes I've seen to date. Partially, though, we must add, and when the credits came up,
we're like, woo!
Jeffrey Combs is in the second segment, and I just went, boom, yes. Yeah. Almost everything he's in makes it better or immediately. And this is a good example of using him in that unique way that he can be used. But let's focus, as always, on the first segment. Adam, played by John Washington, can't bring himself to tell his long-term girlfriend, Laura, played by Tamara Glynn, that he loves her. It's that, basically. Yeah. He can't quite bring himself. This occurs while they're in bed together at a house party, and she gets annoyed, storming out of the party that he's throwing, and he does question why he can't bring himself. And this is what I liked. He isn't angry, he isn't frustrated, he's just kind of like, I just don't want to say it without meaning it, and so on. And I thought that was cool. Like, all right, that's an interesting take.
Up way of looking at it.
Yeah, I would argue, I think I said during the episode, I would argue, mate, if you've been with her this long and you don't know if you love her, maybe you don't. Maybe that's the issue. He even talks to his friend Max, played by George Olden. Max is a little bit young. Maybe not necessarily a little bit young, but acts a little bit young. He's got sunglasses in. He's a little bit cooler, a little bit more of a relaxed attitude. But then he ends up seeing another girl at the party who's giving him the eyes, the attention eyes.
Yes. We're like, she's a...
It does immediately, when it focuses, the camera focuses on her, you immediately get suspicious. You're like, well, okay. It's kind of, it isn't doing that effect where, you look at someone and the stars appear in a corner. Isn't she love? And starts playing with something like that.
He's very gov, because I think he's a bit gormless as well.
I
think it's obvious, because she's quite a pretty girl, so it's like, well, clearly there's something... I don't know, the way, I think it's just the way she looks at him. It's like, okay, clearly this is part of it. And
it will eventually come around to the ending, which is, to be fair, a little confusing. But we'll get to that, because this girl is Lonnie, played by Susanna Savi. And they end up sleeping together, unsurprisingly, spending the night in bed. And during that sexual tryst, she demands he tell her he loves her. Yep. And in a moment, he does. And I was a bit like, yeah, man, that's about right, isn't it? It's just like, God, I just want to get me jollies away. I'm just going to say whatever needs to be said. The morning after, he realises his mistake. And from this, he realises, I do love Laura. Which obviously is a really funny way to, to get around to that. And it's a bit like, do you though? Or is it the guilt you're currently feeling? That kind of thing. But Lonnie has taken his declaration of love to be more of a commitment than anything else. And she basically sets about trying to ruin his life. And there's a lot of fun with some really good acting. Her coming around acting like they're basically a couple. Yep. The initial sort of showdown between Laura, Lonnie and him. The fact that it all comes out quite quickly. Yeah. Disappointed that Laura is so quick to forgive. But mistake is made. He wants to repent for it. She loves him, and he does love her, so and so on. But then Lonnie just won't let it go, becomes quite psychotic. You do have that, it's not basic instinct or anything like that, but you do have tones and shades of that, which is kind of fun. The ending, though. So the ending is a little puzzling, because effectively, they reverse roles, so to speak, and Laura was Lonnie all along, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And Lonnie
was the one at the... No.
She's like a nobody. It begs the question if any of the events ever really happened. It is a little bit of a disappointingly confusing ending in the sense that you're left going, I don't really get it.
No.
I don't really get it.
No.
But the ride is so much fun, you know. We should add as well that there's this recurring conversation that he has with his father. Or is it a stepfather? It's a stepfather and his mother. And it implies, and the stepfather's always like, yeah, basically tell the woman what she wants to hear and all that. And has a bandage around his middle finger. And it implies all the way through, particularly as it leads up to a darker dream sequence, that anytime he has a misbehaves or whatever, he gets punished and so on. And the latest thing was on their holiday was that she chopped off his finger after he, I don't know, flirted or did something with another woman and so on. That stuff is a lot of fun. But John Washington, Adam, he, while gormless, as you say, does play this well. I like the fact that he is a character that basically doesn't seem to get a moment to stop. So he's constantly just like, everything is just flying past him. And he can't, you know when you can almost have sympathy where your life just went so far out of control.
Yeah.
And you've no idea what happened. Yeah, that's what it does. Yeah. You know? But that then brings us to the second story, which focuses on Max. The minor character in the first episode takes centre stage here. And similar to what we saw in the first segment, he's been coasting through life and it's beginning to annoy his mother who wants him to get a job. Max will. That's the thing, he will. But after the big trip he's planned with his girlfriend and friends, gonna go do that, like spring break style thing, and then I'll definitely get a job afterwards. The problem is that he needs money and his mum's been funding him. So after speaking with his older and more sensible brother, Max's mother decides I'm not going to fund this. I'm not going to fund the purchase of your car that you need to do this trip, and insist that he work to get the money. So Max ends up getting a job, forced into a job at a pizza place, one that has taken the spot of Beefy Boys. We are big fans of them using certain things consistently through. We later in a further episode along, we acknowledged the fact that we were beginning to get a idea of Springwood now, because Beefy Boys has gone in this pizza place. I couldn't remember the name of it.
Cheesy Boys.
Cheesy Boys. Thank you very much. Cheesy Boys has taken the place of Beefy Boys, although it is run by the most stereotypical Italian man ever. Yeah. I mean, use that inverted commas.
Putting on the accent.
But immediately that makes we go, right, you're not taking this too seriously. Because the guy is the most stereotypical. His name, I'm pretty sure his name's Luigi as well. Yeah. So, see what I mean? So it's not taking itself too seriously. It is a boring job, of course, with a very dangerous pizza oven.
Oh, God, horrendous.
I love, though, the fact that they're like he's introduced to the oven. He's like, whatever you do, don't make it go to this temperature or it might blow up. And I'm like, you say that like it's so matter of fact. And I'm like, I love that because you basically said, this is the ending. This is going to be involved. Ain't that good? And that's it. We don't need to do anything. Of course, you're going to look at a pizza oven and go, "What do you mean? Like, go what? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy." But Max's experience is made all the worse when his manager is introduced, and it's his older brother Ralph, played by Jeffrey Combs. So Jeffrey Combs' character Ralph in this is a guy you love to hate.
Oh yeah.
He's gone to business school, so he thinks he's better than Max. He thinks he's smart and so on. But
Colin Robinson, isn't he?
He's Colin Robinson. Yeah, if you know from what we do, what we do in the Shadows, the TV show, and Energy Vampire, and he wants to make Max's life difficult. He thinks he can show Max responsibility. The problem is, as Max will later point out, is like, well, you haven't done that well. You're working here as a manager at a pizza place. Job's a job, Max. Don't be a dick. But in the context of the story, he's absolutely right. Yeah. Max figuring, well, look, at least I can tell my mum I tried, does everything possible to get fired. Yep. But actually it only ends up getting moved to the night shift where he works alone. But he does come up with a cool idea there, which is basically, all right, I'm going to get my girlfriend, my friends, all come over and do a build-your-own pizza style thing. I love the idea of that. It is very successful. Business is booming. He's doing really, really well. However, seemingly wanting to know about the success, Ralph, Jeffrey Combs' character, manages to talk the owner into letting him become the manager of the night shift so he can see why business is successful. Really, it's just a chance to try and undercut Max because Max is outperforming him. And obviously, when he sees what's going on, he completely changes it and kicks everyone out and so on, which is insane because if you're the owner and you'd be like, man, weeks before, we were earning this much money. Now we're not. Yeah. What's changed? Yeah. And then Max like, I'm pretty sure the owner wouldn't be against the idea of making your own pizzas, like, do you know what I mean, like, like creating your own toppings. Yeah. That's effectively what they're doing, because Max doesn't have to make them; he has to bake them, not come behind the counter.
No, it still sounds good. Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's not that absolutely, you know, crazy. Yeah, so he kicks out all the friends and insists on making business better, but he's come up with new ingredients. That's how it's going to be. New ingredients that do turn out to be very, very popular. Enough so that Max's kind of station gets knocked down a bit and so on. People start to disappear. You know where this is going. Yeah. We all know where this is going. That's the joy of it. And building up to that reveal and how Jeffrey Combs behaves, and, you know, they do that lovely thing that they do with a lot of these episodes, but here, and it always works really well for him as a character, an actor, to get the camera nice and close to the face, slightly under the chin, with a glow on it, so it always looks a bit more deranged. Yes, he is, of course, chopping up people's bodies and blending them for pizza toppings, pizza sauce and stuff like that, and people are absolutely loving it. It is a lot of fun. Yep. The reveal is everything. We know what's coming, but it doesn't stop being fun. And the ending is spectacular as well, which, of course, does involve that pizza oven.
Yep.
And how Max survives it and so on is great, but then because it's almost got a happy ending, so to speak, there is a sting in the tail, which, of course, Max almost has a personality change afterwards. Yep. Becomes like his older brother, with a suit and glasses and like greased back hair, and wants to be sensible and so on. It is a top segment in an episode that has two very good segments. Yes, all right, criticisms can be levied at the ending of segment 1 as being a little just too confusing, and the very, very small connection between the two. There's not a big connection here. It's just that one character who only appeared for like 2 minutes in the first segment, if even that long. So you could argue those are criticisms. But I would take those criticisms over dull, uninteresting episodes and segments we have watched.
Yeah, and I feel sometimes it's like testament to how much we've got to go like read through notes after watching them. You think we don't watch these years ago. They should be fresh in your memory, but sometimes you're like, God, what happened? Like, what happened?
I can remember so many scenes from this. When I don't know if it's his girlfriend or girlfriend, a friend who's a girl who he tells her to wait for him, goes downstairs to get something, comes back and she's gone. And Jeffrey Combs a lot. She left or whatever. And then as Max goes to the back, we see Jeffrey Combs focuses on the cheese, and you see like fingers sticking out of it, and he's quickly trying to cover it up. In fact, I remember little bits like that. Tells you a lot about this one. One of the best,
definitely.
Yeah. Love Stinks, episode 7 of Freddy's Nightmares. What do you reckon? Do you feel as strongly about it as we do? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website, where reviews, news, and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at gbhbl. Just search for gbhbl and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.